Joining the tour today, and we're going to be taking a look at the newly renovated bungalows, or otherwise now known as the cottages, which we've gone through about half of them so far. And we're looking at cottages number 4 and 8 at this time, and this is just a view of the balcony. We changed the entrance from being in the middle, and so if you are familiar with the property, there used to be an entrance for 2 rooms in one of these bungalow housing structures, and now each bungalow, each room has their own entrance to the side and a little bit more privacy as well, because we split the balcony. So you don't necessarily have to talk to the neighbor if you don't want to, but you can of course go around if you would like. And moving into the room itself, these are brand new beds and frames and new design with the throw pillows and the standard pillows in the back there. And then you can also see the kitchenette unit that we renovated, and we'll get to in a second. Also, we added a working desk with a charging station, so you have USB and also Type-C there as well, right below the television. And that's for anybody who wants to get some work done, especially those work from home people. And this is a wider view of the room, and I just want to make note of the AC, because these used to be fan cooled rooms, and now we got rid of the louver windows, and so now it's completely sealed up, if you will, with, as far as the windows go, brand new windows. And also want to bring attention to the ceilings. So the ceilings used to be flat, and now we brought them up to an apex to give a little bit more room and make it feel a little bit more spacious, but still maintain the coziness. And also bringing some more attention to the far right corner of the kitchenette that we have, and we'll get to that in a second, and also the newly renovated bathroom. So we basically gutted this entire place. Even the floor tiles are brand new as well. And this is another angle of the bed, and just want to bring some attention to the LED bed frame, as well as the embedded nightstands and lamps, and another view of the kitchenette, I should say. And as you can see, it has basically all the utensils and tools that you might need to cook a meal. Included is a mini fridge there down on the left, and a hot plate, coffee maker, ice bucket, all the knives and utensils that you may need to feed a small family. Not necessarily Thanksgiving dinner, but you can definitely chef it up in there, especially if you're staying for an extended period of time. This might be a perfect type of accommodation for you. And that essentially is the kitchen. And now moving on to the bathroom. And as I mentioned before, like floor to ceiling, new floor tiles, new ceiling tiles. Got the LED frame around the mirror to give a little bit more lights. We changed out the square louver windows for the ship window, I guess you can call it. And we got the rainfall shower head and the glass frame shower door. Even the towel holders, those are all new. And again, trying to bring together everything in the room, the kitchenette, and to complete the cottage experience, if you will. So very happy and proud of how this was done, and really wanted to give a modern look and feel to this new room category, the cottage. And so also with this wide angle, want to bring attention to the closet. So you got some drawer space there, and you got some hanging space as well, and your safe, of course, and the ironing board is on the other side in between the closet and the window there. And yeah, another angle of the room, and also want to bring attention to that long standing mirror there, so full frame mirror. And that essentially is the bungalow, and this is kind of our way of paying homage to my dad and where he started from with this hotel, Travelers Beach Resort. It started right with one bungalow and grew to the 60-room resort that Travelers Beach Resort is now. Hello and welcome. If this is your first time visiting, a special welcome to you. We got a special feature today. We are doing a driving tour of Negro, Jamaica, particularly focusing on the West End. And this is a bit of a long video. It's about 40 minutes. And depending on where you're watching it, it will be in different parts. Our one long video. My name is Winthrop Wellington, by the way, and here on my channel we really discuss all things Jamaica, but today, as I mentioned, we're going to be doing a bit of tour of Negril, and we're just going to flow with it and see where this takes us. So we are starting this tour off on Norman Manley Boulevard, otherwise known as the Beach Road at Travelers Beach Resort, which is my family's hotel. And of course we gotta wait for the traffic, but across there on the left side of your screen, that is our NEAT Resource Center, or the Negril Education Environment Trust Resource Center. NEAT is my family's nonprofit organization which focuses on education for young people. So right now we're heading south on Norman Manley Boulevard. Pretty beautiful day, as you can see. I don't know what the temperature was when we filmed this, but it was nice. It was a nice day. And so we're heading towards downtown Negril, and on your left is the shared user path. So that's running, walking, biking, and that goes for a little bit over 2 miles. To your right is the Negril Beach Park. It has a basketball court and the beach, of course, and just really open space. Unfortunately, it's closed right now. They have plans to do some refurbishing, and then we just passed the Negril Community Center, and then we're also passing the craft market on your right side, and this is the South Negril River and Bridge. And we're heading to the Negril roundabout. Of course, going into the roundabout, you have to give way, and if you're in the roundabout, you have the right of way. And we are going west end, so we're going to be taking a right here at the roundabout and veering left. And so here downtown, this is a few shopping centers, if you will. There's Little Caesars Pizza on the right, Popeyes, Burger King. There's a Digicel store down here as well. And on the left coming up is Scotiabank, which some people might be familiar with depending on where you are from, but it's a Canadian bank. And I guess officially this is where the west end of Negril starts. And on your left here is Corner Bar, which is a pretty popular restaurant. Great local food. Haven't had it in a while, but the reviews continue to be very good. And on the left, that's Vendors Plaza. That's the Negril Chamber of Commerce owned plaza. And on the right, obviously, we have the sea. Unfortunately, I don't think we panned right, but you basically can see the entirety of Negril on the right-hand side if you were to look right. You need to get a 360 camera next time, right? Anyway, on the left is the Negril Post Office. Not in the greatest of shapes, but that is our post office. And then right after that is Samuel's Hardware on the left. And that's, I would say, probably the most popular hardware store in Negril. Mostly every business uses them. And then on the left, the green building, that's Quality Traders. That's where I do my grocery shopping. Been going there for years. And then we're coming up on the, I guess what used to be the High-Low Value Master NCB Plaza, but NCB and High-Low moved. So that's no longer there, and that place is being refurbished. And this is called Church Corner. As we move through the West End. Just cruising. And this is the Negril Library on the left, and then followed by Negril All Age School. And then this is another hardware store on the left. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. I'm just flowing with it, and as I see things, I'm going to point them out to you. On the right is the Negril Yacht Club, which is for sale. Hopefully, should be doing a video on that hopefully sometime soon. Canoe bar is on the right. It's pretty much the only property on the west end that has a beach. Good food there. Haven't been there in a while either, but their food is pretty good. That used to be German bar, but I don't know what it is now, but boats used to pull up there. They used to have really good pizza. This used to be Boat Bar on the right, but it changed into something else. I'm not sure what it is now. And then Millard is on the left, and if you know Millard, that's 24 Hours Place. Good food as well. And then Patsy's is on the right, so they do, I think it's basically the only standalone coffee shop in the grill. And they do good pastries, good lunch. I did a live stream from there and also did a video with them as well for the channel, which was cool. This is Ocean Cliff on the right we just passed. I did the farewell dinner there for ThropX 2022. Beautiful property, formerly known as the Spa Retreat. But beautiful property, great food that we had there for the farewell dinner retreat. And here on the West End, like, it's a very different experience than the beach. As you can see, like, it's very, it's I wouldn't say secluded, maybe too strong of a word, but definitely when you're on the properties, it's a little bit more secluded and separated as compared to the beach, where there's just more traffic and no real, I guess, super separation between the properties. And really talking in terms of traversing. So to go from property to property here, you actually have to come out the property and walk along the roads here, whereas like the properties on the beach, you can either walk on the beach and go from property to property, or the road, if you will. And if you're across the street from the beach, then we have the shared user path, depending on where the property is. Now we are passing Samsara, which is friends of the family, another good small hotel in the grill. Sorry about that wind sound. I didn't anticipate that, but that just makes sense, just coming from the camera. This is Kaiser's. This was used to be a very famous place for shows back in the day, before my time. Coming up on the left and the right here is Ekstabi, great seafood place. Haven't been there in a while, but do enjoy their food. Great lobster during a lobster season. Three Dives coming up on the right here. Very, very popular restaurant, local restaurant. Great jerk chicken, jerk food in general. They were actually on the Amazing Race, if I'm not mistaken. Almost certain of that. Nice view here of the sea. We're passing Pushcart on the right, which borders its sister property, Rock House, one of my favorite restaurants in the grill. They also have an award-winning spa, one of my favorite spas in the grill, as a matter of fact. And haven't been there in a while. When I say a while, like a few months, but I'm a regular customer there for sure. They do excellent job. Very technical, and I guess you can call me bougie when it comes to massages, but I know what I like and I know what I want, and they do a fantastic job there. That's Corosi's Cliff we just looked at. And as you can see, we're literally just riding the coast here. The only thing separating us from the coast is the property. So this is as close as we can get in a vehicle moving through the West End. It's definitely on mute. Sorry. Evening, everybody. Welcome to this midweek, end of the week live stream. And I really like doing these. These are a little extra something outside of our normal Sunday show. So I definitely appreciate you all showing up. And I want to do more of these actually. This is just, I feel like this is just such great content. Last week I did the reaction to Diplo's house there. Just felt like turning on the camera and engaging with you all. Obviously, this one's a little bit different. This is planned, and we got an agenda and a schedule and everything like that. And you all knew what was happening. But definitely like a type of content that I really, really enjoy doing, is especially with so many, specific to Jamaica, like so many great things happening in Jamaica. I don't know if you all saw, there is this big investment in water in the West, you know, and really helping out our water situation here in Negril. We're going to go really deep into it on Sunday. But very, very good news for Negril. Very good news for Jamaica as a whole. It's like these things that I kind of just, as these things happen, I really just want to hop on and talk about them. So I will I'm like trying to like figure out clear my schedule so I can do this on a more regular basis. But as far as today's live stream, we got two really great, awesome leaders. They're actually going to be coming on at 5:30, so a little less than 14 minutes. And I'll reintroduce them. We have the president, both our presidents, president of VM Group and the president of the University of Technology, both coming on and talking about their respective professions, of course, but also focusing on the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference coming up in pretty much a couple of weeks, starting the 16th of June. And yeah, June is basically here for the most part. The year is flying by like crazy. And so I definitely want this, as usual with these live streams, especially when we have guests on, I want to make them as interactive as possible. And for those who are watching, which is probably going to be the majority of people who are watching this on replays, please get your comments in your questions in the comments, or your comments in the comment section below, and we will do our best to get them answered, and I will get them to the respective parties. And even after this video has been posted and it's not live anymore, I still like to continue the conversation and continue the engagement. But as usual, as we start these live streams, please let me know where everybody is chiming in from. I love to hear it. What city, what state, what country. I love connecting all of us, especially with the focus of being the diaspora and the diaspora conference. It's kind of good to know where everybody is tuning in from, even those who are watching on the replay. I think it's very, very, very important. Speaking of the diaspora conference, I've actually been to two. The last two that they had, they were in I believe they were, if my memory serves me correctly, I believe they were both in Kingston. If I think that's, maybe one's Kingston, one Montego Bay, I can't remember, but very, very good, you know. And the last one, I feel like I just started this channel. I just started doing the content of this nature, and I found it to be one, of course, the networking is amazing, as you can imagine, with a conference of this magnitude. The networking is just awesome. And then you also get like, I will say my takeaway from the first one that I went to, which I know that was in Kingston, at least I got, one of the biggest takeaways that I got from this is like really understanding the power of the diaspora and the power of their voice. And I think just the fact that the government is putting on this conference alone really shows and speaks to the importance, how valuable the Jamaican diaspora really is to Jamaica, the economy, all of the above. And so I felt that when I was there, in respect to questions that were being asked by people. I remember it was almost, I don't know what that room is called at the Kingston Convention Center, I think it is. It's downtown. The room is almost set up like the UN, and a lot of very, very direct questions. I also think that for people, and I met a few folks there who haven't been home in like home Jamaica in like 20 years, 10 years, and a long time. And it really gave them a sense of what is happening here on the ground. And I say a lot in the comments of like, why isn't Jamaica doing this? Why don't we have this? Why don't we have that? And like, this is the opportunity to ask the powers that be those direct questions. And I feel like the access alone to leaders in the country, both in the public and private sector, is super super valuable. And so that is like one of the I always thought like one of the greatest, I would say, values or walkaways, takeaways from that conference is is that access. And this year, it's so crazy that I'm actually going to be part of it and being on a panel. Like I'm very very honored that I'm going to be on a panel with Senator Auburn Hill and kicking off the show. So my panel is on the 17th, I believe that's a Monday if I'm not mistaken. The 17th of June, if you want to come see me present. Yeah, it's a Monday. And it's the first one, it's in the morning, first thing in the morning. So I would encourage you to get there early and be there. I mean, and the whole, and we're going to talk about it today with our guest coming on in a few short minutes. But the agenda, the speakers, everything that they have lined up looks pretty incredible. And I think it's going to be a lot. You can see the effort and everything that they're doing. So very very excited for the diaspora conference. And has anybody been before in the comments? Just would wanna hear kind of where everybody's at. What's going on? What's going on, Kevin? What's going on? Thanks for joining. Shout out to all my channel members. I appreciate you. Thank you, Kevin, for being a channel member. Really, really appreciate you all. Appreciate you always participating and supporting this channel and supporting what we do. Thank you so much. Shout out to the Patreons as well. Shout out to the Thropper, oh man, we'll call it Triple T. Shout out to the Triple T's. This is the group that we meet every month on via Patreon. Thank you all for supporting the channel. Really appreciate you all. Kevin says, looking forward to the stream. Yeah, it should be a good one. I've been looking forward to this all week, as a matter of fact. Excited for it. What's going on, Chantel? Thanks for joining. Thanks for being on. Phil, what's happening? Always appreciate your support. Hi, Chelsea. Thanks for coming on. Andre, what's going on? Thanks for being here as well. Peter V checking in from Brampton, Ontario. Good to have you. Canada in the building. Mark McCarthy, greetings, Throp and family, checking in from Brooklyn, New York. We will be at the conference to support you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And looking forward to seeing you and the missus as well. Again, nice to know that you're going to be there. Looking forward to it. Should be a good one. Jay Light says, continue the good work, Brother Throp. Thank you so much. I most certainly will. Synthwave, what's going on? Feel like I haven't seen you in a while, man. I hope you're doing well. Good to see you on here. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you. Yeah, there's like a lot of, as there continues to be a lot of great things happening in Jamaica coming down the pipeline, and we're going to talk about a lot of it on Sunday. And there continues to be like great opportunity. I know we talk a lot about real estate, but there continues to be a lot of great opportunity in real estate. And even Synthway says, been a minute, but I still watch your videos. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. But there's yeah, a lot of opportunities coming down the pipeline. A lot of, and I hate to talk about rumors. I talk about them in the think tankers. That's why think tankers meeting, just because it's a little bit more of a private group. I'm not trying to like trick you into joining it or anything like that, but I just don't like to talk about rumors on like this public platform. And when I say rumors, it's really like certain opportunities that are coming, and you just hear things and just kind of doing what I'm doing. Like you kind of hear about like this development or that development coming, or this person bought that land, but it's not public information, so I don't like to talk about it. Even the deal that was, I'm not sure if you're all aware, we did at Thropex, we did a real estate tour, which we do every year. And one of the properties on the real estate tour was Coral Seas Cliff here in Negril. And that day that we did the property tour around Negril, a lot of exclusive properties that weren't listed, and Coral Seas was one of those properties. And it was pouring torrential downpour in that day, and everybody it didn't phase anybody. Everybody was game, everybody's down. Every property we went to, everybody got off the bus. We had umbrellas and everything like that. And one of the properties we visited was Coral Seas Cliffs. And it was and I can speak openly about it now because it's public information. So it was going for 3 million US dollars. It was a hotel, 30 rooms on the cliff, beautiful, beautiful view. And mind you, you couldn't really appreciate the view because it was raining so much and it was cloudy, as you can imagine. But everybody there, or many of the people there, saw and had the vision beyond what the weather was, beyond what the state of the property was at that given time. Very well kept. Is a bit of a dated property for sure, but still maintained well. And there was a group of folks that had vision, and they came together and they said, "Hey, if 30 of us come together, put down $100,000 each, we can buy this property." And I knew things were happening, and I knew it even closed last month, but I didn't want to talk about it until I got the green light and everybody said it was okay to speak about. And last week somebody posted about it on Facebook, and it's been great. And we've sold many, like, through this channel. Like, many properties have been bought and sold through this channel, and even at ThropX. But I think that was certainly the biggest commercial property that was sold through the platform. And then also it's just like through group. I think that's the main takeaway, is just like the idea of pooling funds together to purchase something and to get into the Jamaican real estate market, so to speak. And that property is being converted into, oh, sorry about the thumbs up. That property is being converted into condos. So it's not being reopened as a hotel. Sorry, sorry, I froze there for a second. And also, just quick, it is torrential downpour here. So as you know how it goes with the lightning. So if I cut out for a second, I'll be right back. So I just want to give everybody a heads up with that. So anyway, when things of that nature happen with sales and stuff like that, I don't like to talk about it before I'm allowed to, and before it becomes public information. So we will definitely be getting into that. Different opportunities that I'm allowed to talk about. Put it that way, on Sunday and beyond. So got a few more minutes till we're ready to go. Less than 2 minutes. Inga baby, what's going on? Hello, Throp from Orlando. Thanks for joining. Clive Thompson says, I've attended the Jamaica Diaspora Conference twice in the UK. This was 10 years ago, but it feels like the change is really happening now for Jamaicans and the wider diaspora. Yes, I agree with that. And that's something that we're definitely going to talk about with our guests today. Is like I would say the great changes that are happening in Jamaica, and how I would say it's affecting the perception of the diaspora, and then also how they are contributing as well. And just talking about, like, the many different opportunities that are available and that I'm seeing. And I'm smiling because, like, I was in Montego Bay earlier today, and the visit was inspired by opportunities that are happening there, that is very, very exciting. Very, very, very exciting. So I'm excited to talk about all that today with our guest. And awesome to know that you were there 10 years ago, and that this thing is still going strong. Yeah, I think this is a great initiative by the government. Another very, very important conference. And I know we just came off of so many conferences. We had the real estate conference a couple weeks ago. We had the CHC, Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association conference last week. And then Remax had their real estate conference as well before the national real estate conference, and then now we have the diaspora conference coming up in a little over 2 weeks. So a lot going on, a lot happening in Jamaica. It's just like the buzz is there, and it's very, very, very exciting times all around. And I think the opportunity to get educated, to do networking at these different conferences is, I think, is very, very important. And it really gives you, I don't know, it gives you a chance, right? It gives you an opportunity to kind of get in here. So I see we have the first guest in one of our guests. Oh, hold on, I think my keyboard. I thought my keyboard died, which would not be good timing. But we have the first guest. So let me give a breakdown of the guests that we have coming on. And so like I said earlier today, we have two presidents, two very, very important leaders. And we have Mr. Courtney Campbell, who is the group president and CEO of VM Group, and also the preparatory committee chairman of the 10th biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. And then we also have joining us Dr. Kevin Brown, who's the president of the University of Technology, UTech, and chairman of the Program and Content Subcommittee of the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. And Mr. Campbell is here now. And welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Winthrop. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. How are you doing?
I'm great, and it's just such a privilege to be with you. You know, you've been doing a wonderful job through Tropics and sharing this rich information with Jamaicans all over the world. So it's a great pleasure and privilege to be with you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And I know you have limited time with us,
Sure.
and I want to make sure we respect that. And I'm sure Dr. Brown will be joining us shortly. But you have a dual role here, pretty much. And I want to start first, if we can. We'll definitely go dive deep into the conference, but specifically with my audience, so many of them, large majority, are part of the Jamaican diaspora, and they're looking for ways, opportunities to come back to Jamaica, and that's multifaceted, right? That is from everything from retiring here to buying a home and using it as an opportunity, say, for Airbnb. And I believe Victoria Mutual is one of the, sorry, VM Group is one of those institutions that are looked into to help facilitate those opportunities. And so to start with, could you give us a bit of a background on what some of those financial opportunities may be for that demographic of people?
Excellent. So great. So let me just set the context by speaking a bit about the VM Group, up front for 30 seconds. So we were established in 1878, November 1878. So November of this year will be 146 years old. Wow. And we started as a building society, primarily just offering residential mortgages, of course, savings. And, 40 years ago, we started to diversify into other financial services. So we now do investments and pensions and money transfer, property services, etc. I mentioned that because, in the early 80s, because so many of our members had migrated, especially to the UK, VM thought it was relevant and very important to establish overseas representative offices. So at one point, we had as many as 5 offices in the UK, right, alone. Now it's 3. We're in Brixton, Birmingham, Tottenham. We actually are changing our mode of delivery. So we're going to be closing some of those physical brick and mortar offices and serving the team, those people more digitally with just going through just one office. We're also in New York and in Florida. And so we have, therefore, decades of experience serving the people in the diaspora. And so what are they looking for? Well, they're looking for a wide range of things. One, they wish to save in Jamaica. That's their way of continuing to identify with home, right? Just having a Jamaican savings account. It may be denominated in the foreign currency, with US, Canadian, or sterling, or in Jamaican dollars, but they want to have some savings home. Some people wish to then move beyond the savings to to invest in real estate, right? And they have that for different purposes. Which, first of all, many plan to return home, like those who went initially to the UK. Those who went to the UK uh, intended to return home after retirement. Some decided not to return home, but they would spend 3 or 4 months here, or some 6 months here, 6 months back home. Some don't have those plans, but but their intention is to just have an investment property here that they would rent, and the rental would supplement their income. Some others want to have, especially the younger generation, we're finding, like the idea of a summer home, right? They may live in Canada or in the UK. They have friends who have holiday homes in Greece or in Spain or Italy, and they're saying that I have my holiday home in Jamaica,
Mhm.
which is, exotic and special, and then they become the envy of their friends, right? And the options are great, and they invite their friends and family down. So there are those real estate opportunities and then in recent years, people are buying properties that have tourism potential. So they invest in villas, they invest in apartments, especially with the phenomenon of Airbnb that is becoming more and more popular. We are seeing those in our mortgage portfolio here at BM, those investment opportunities. So, it depends on the family situation, depends on the family objectives, and the purpose for which people would invest in real estate in Jamaica. But the point is that a significant portion of our mortgage book is mortgages granted to overseas Jamaicans. And as I said, the market, the markets that dominate: UK, Canada, United States. But we do have Jamaicans who are living in continental Europe and in Asia and the Middle East and so on, and they are also investing here, and Eastern Caribbean. But beyond that, many Jamaicans overseas are also investing in the stock market here. Remember that the stock market in Jamaica was rated as a top stock exchange in 2015 and again in 2018, I believe, right? In terms of the advance made in that year, top performance. So it's kind of has since COVID suffered some decline, but it's a good buying time for the smart money, right? If you make your selections wisely. So there are Jamaicans overseas who have continued to invest, and we will be at the Diaspora Conference. We'll be sharing more information on how people can invest in the stock market, how they can use it for their to their advantage for the growth of their businesses, how they can invest in real estate, and a wide range of investment opportunities. I think we'll speak about a bit more about that in this show. But that's the context. We're seeing people saving, investing, and investing in a wide range of asset classes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Campbell. And now we have Dr. Kevin Brown, the president of UTech, who joined us. And he is also the chair of the program and content subcommittee for the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. Welcome to the show, Dr. Brown.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Hi, Courtney. How are you?
Hey, Kevin. Good to see you.
Excellent, excellent. So if you would, could you give us an introduction of yourself? And then I definitely have a lot of questions for you as well.
Okay. Well, first of all, I must say I am a fan of yours. So it's a pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you.
I resided in the United Kingdom for over 2 decades. So I am one of Jamaica's newest returning residents. I
Amazing.
think I've been here now for 7-8 months. Um, but I grew up in Jamaica. I was born here, spent half my life here, and in fact, I'm a past student of UTech. So shortly after completing my studies at UTech, I migrated to the UK to pursue further studies in engineering, not realizing that I would have stayed there for such a length of time. I thought I'd just finish my studies there and return home, but I guess life took over. And once I finished studying at the University of Nottingham with a PhD, I then went into academia there. And from academia, I moved into the aerospace industry, working for Rolls-Royce, designing large jet engines for a number of years before this opportunity came to return to UTech as the president, an institution that has given me so much. And so I'm hoping that I can now, apply all the experiences I've gained in the UK to transforming this university. So just a bit about UTech. So we are Jamaica's largest public university, Jamaica's national university. And we have a STEM focus program. And so we offer over 100 programs actually. And so our focus is to develop Jamaica's next workforce in terms of industrial engineers. And we also have a large business school. We have a large pharmacy and College of Science as well. And so our focus has been and continues to be on as a practitioner-based framework, and that's what UTech is known for. And we also have a heavy emphasis on cooperative education, which is to get our students into the world of work before they graduate. But for me, as coming from the diaspora, I see the diaspora now as an opportunity to pivot in terms of trying to encourage more Jamaicans living overseas to come home with their skills and experience and work at the university. We need academics, we need more administrators, and so I think it's not about brain drain anymore, but it's about brain gain. And I'm hoping that members of the diaspora who are academics or who believe that they have something to contribute to the university, I hope they'll come to the conference. We will be there. UTech will be there, and we're hiring. We have real difficulties in getting nursing lecturers. So if the nursing lecturers who are in the diaspora, perhaps recently retired, and have thinking about coming home and still want to do something productive, we want to hear from them. And we also have problems recruiting lecturers for dentistry and so on. So we see that, I personally see the diaspora as an opportunity for Jamaica. A lot more members of the diaspora want to do what you have done, Throp, which is to come home and be able to sustain themselves in Jamaica, right? And I think those opportunities are emerging more and more. And certainly I believe those opportunities are at UTech as well. I mean, there's always going to be a debate about salaries and so on. But what I have discovered, and I don't know if you'd agree with me, but Jamaicans come home for a range of reasons. And sometimes it's not necessarily about, a high salary. People just want to be back in an environment that is more familiar and so on. So, I am all about encouraging the diaspora to come home. One of the things that Jamaica could do better is letting the diaspora know of the opportunities. We tend to push to the diaspora investments and so on, but we don't necessarily advertise jobs, whether at a managerial level or otherwise. There's no, we don't actively push them out there for the diaspora to participate in those opportunities as well. So I think so I'm looking forward to being at the conference and bringing UTech to the conference and speaking about some of these opportunities.
Excellent. And we're definitely going to dive deep into the conference shortly. But you had mentioned UTech being a STEM institution. And from your perspective, can you explain the importance of that for not only the students that are there now and future students, but also from a globally competitive standpoint? Like, what does that mean to Jamaica, and why it's important to be a STEM focused institution?
Well, it's very important because, if you look at the global circumstances now, technology is very important to human existence, right? It affects us in one way or the other. Pretty much almost every human being has one of these, right? So, and this is a little computer, right? This is a little computer. So, if nothing else, just the innocuous mobile phone signals the technological change that's happening, and then along comes something called chat GPT, and artificial intelligence is now on everyone's tongues, and everyone is trying to get to grips with it. But I often say to people that, I got my first email address in 1996, right? And and of course, email is now old school because WhatsApp is the all rage, right? But for me, that was a big technological step, and I can even go further back, Throp, and say that my grandmother, who lived in the UK for many years, used to write me letters, right? And I had a very good friend at high school who had a pen pal all the way in Australia. And this was all being done by letters that you would have to write with a pen, put through the post, and wait many, many weeks to hear from them. So the point I'm making is that we've always had technological evolutions, but what we're seeing happen today is the pace at which it's happening is pretty rapid. And so Jamaica has aspirations to be a knowledge-based economy, where we can offer people high wages because they're highly skilled. And that can only be achieved by being an economy that is driven by technology, and an industrialized environment with highly skilled with a highly skilled workforce. So UTech has to be at the heart of that, because we are producing Jamaica's next workforce, and we have to ensure that they're industry ready, and we have to ensure that they are ready for the rapid technological change that's occurring, not just in terms of the technical skills, because really what you want when you talk about STEM is a certain way of thinking as well. You want a graduate, a STEM graduate that has good cognitive skills, can find and solve problems, can undertake critical thinking. So it's not just about the whole technical dimensions to it. It's about also how they're trained to think and work through problems. And so that's why at UTech we have a heavy focus on being a practitioner-based institution. We want to get our students involved in solving problems and train them in that sort of way. So for us, it's about ensuring that we are aligned with the government's ambition. The government's ambition is for Jamaica to be a STEM island. Just a few weeks ago, the Prime Minister came to UTech and announced that Jamaica is a STEM island, which obviously is an aspiration. And so we now have to deliver that. But there are several challenges, right? And again, education is a big topic for the Diaspora Conference, because we have to ensure that our education system is ready. And I'm talking about from kindergarten to tertiary level, because my university will only survive if I have the appropriate high school students who can matriculate into the university. So we need to ensure that the entire education ecosystem is geared up and is producing STEM students who matriculate to become STEM university graduates. And so there's a big task ahead of us. And this is where, again, I emphasize the diaspora who are out there with the experience and skills, who are giving back to Jamaica. And there are many diasporans who donate books and money and everything to schools. But we also now need their talent to help to support and provide advice on how we make this STEM transition, because we're facing a couple of challenges, Throp, and I want to lay them out for you.
Please.
40,000 young people leave high schools in Jamaica. 40,000. Only 15 to 20% enter a tertiary institution. So we're only having about 15 or 20% of them entering university. If you compare and contrast that to what we call developed countries, the number is above 50% or more, right? So we have a task now in ensuring that more of our students are passing maths, because at the moment it's about 62% pass maths. But even worse, around 85% of high school students do not do a STEM subject. They're not doing science, maths, or anything. 85%, right, are not doing a STEM subject. So you can see that, we have a big challenge ahead of us. The good thing is we're aware of the challenge, and the Ministry of Education and a range of stakeholders, including my university, are trying to put in place now plans to turn that around. You'd have heard the government of Jamaica talk about STEM schools, but in addition to these brand new STEM high schools, we are continuing to upgrade our current schools that we have, and to ensure that we're bolstering the number of students who are doing well in maths. And of course, they need English typically to enter university, so we need them to be good at communication, as well as the sciences and so on. So there's a whole program, and again, these are topics that are going to be discussed at the conference. There's going to be a big plenary session on education with Marlon Lindsay, who's a member of the diaspora, right, doing some great work around STEM in Jamaica, even though he lives in the United States. He recently, through UTech, hosted the Future Ready Conference, which was an international STEM conference, looking at how we can prepare Jamaica's educators, the teachers, how we can get them ready to teach STEM in schools. So UTech is going to be pivotal to Jamaica's ambition to become a knowledge-based economy and a STEM-focused island. And what I would say, Throp, is, again, in terms of diaspora participation, for diasporans out there who have companies, have they thought about putting a branch of their company in Jamaica and employing Jamaicans? So I'm going to give you an example. There's a young man called O'Neill Gale. He's the CEO of Loring Consulting, a past student of UTech. In fact, we both went to UTech at the same time. And when I went to the UK, he went to the United States. And he now is the head of this company. There's a major company across the states delivering mechanical, electrical, and building works, covering a wide range of contracts and projects, right? And he recently decided to open an office right here in Jamaica, in Kingston, and he's employing engineering graduates from UTech and UWI. They don't have to leave Jamaica. They stay right here. They work for him. And when he gets these projects, which will involve designing buildings and all the rest of it, he sends the work to Jamaica. UTech and UWI graduates do the design work for him, and send it back to the States. So all the work is coming from the States. I mean, in fact, what he wants to do now is to actually see if he could, open up his services to Jamaica, right? But all the work is currently coming from the States. But the good thing is, Throp, we're not losing the young people.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to work here. He pays them well, right? And they're able to work here. And in fact, when I talk to him and he tells me about recruiting in Jamaica, unfortunately, he's finding that, the students who are applying to his company sometimes are unemployed for lengthy periods.
Mm-hmm.
They can't find work in the specific engineering discipline that they studied at UTech or UWI. So he is becoming a lifeline. And I just wanted to give that example to other diasporans who have been successful in business and perhaps hasn't thought about, could I open an office in Jamaica and employ Jamaicans, right?
Right.
So because everybody knows about BPOs and call centers. These are not call center jobs. These are technical jobs being done at Loring Consulting in Jamaica. So that, to me, Throp, is the model.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Where you produce more high quality STEM graduates and attract industrialized companies to have a footprint in Jamaica. That's the pivot that we need to make. We're known for sun, sea, and sunshine.
I agree.
We now need to be known for high quality engineers, high quality technologists. And you know what? We are producing them, Throp. It's just that we haven't been telling the world about them. If I don't know where in the United States you lived, but I can tell you that it's graduates from UTech right here in Jamaica who migrate and are running the electrical power companies in Florida, running the electrical power companies in New York. You ask who are they employing? It's Jamaicans who are working in those electrical power companies from UTech, right? And right across the United States, you will find Jamaicans in engineering companies, right? I was one of them, right? I was at Rolls-Royce for many years in the UK. And so what we want to do is, well, two things: keep them here or bring them home, right? But we have to have the jobs for that to happen. So that is the future I see. That is the kind of pipeline, from UTech into high-tech jobs. Sorry.
I was going to say, I always thought that Jamaica can become, I know we say STEM Island, but I think we can become Silicon Island, and we can put ourselves in the position to do that. And I got to have you back on, Dr. Brown, to like really, you said like a lot of numbers and a lot of challenges that the education system is facing from high school going on up. Like I really, really, really want to dive deep into that at some point in time. So we're going to reconnect after this to try to make that happen in the future. But what I want to do is just open up a question to you both and then dive a little bit into the Diaspora Conference itself, because I know you have to go shortly, Mr. Campbell. So there is a lot of great things happening in Jamaica, and I am, I've been here 18 years now.
Good.
And I am if you compare my internal feeling of the future of Jamaica to back then when I first moved here to now, it is complete 180. And it is, for me, having been through very rough times, and, I cut my teeth during the financial crisis, and it was just a terrible time to be a business owner who just kind of coming into learning how to navigate myself in business and also socially, and to now seeing all these great things with infrastructure, governmental investment, private sector investment, from the residential to the biggest commercial developments that Jamaica has ever seen. And it's exciting times all around. And so my question is two parts for both of you: is how has the Jamaican diaspora contributed to what is happening in Jamaica and the trajectory that we're on, and how can they play a bigger role in the future?
Well, a couple of things. They have contributed significantly. If you think about it, in many ways, the net international reserves, right? Those are our foreign currency reserves, now reaching record levels. And it's from those reserves that we develop a certain amount of resilience to say that if we have a major disaster with respect to a natural disaster, for example, a hurricane or something that impacts our production capacity and negatively, therefore, impacts our export earnings. We can't welcome any more tourists for a long time, or many of our factories engaged in producing export goods are unable to function. We know that we have in our reserves a certain number of months, no longer weeks, of import earnings, of import cost, right? That we'd still be able to purchase petroleum, medicine, etc., to keep our economy moving and our people healthy, and that's very important. Now, the people in the diaspora have contributed to that because many of them are saving in Jamaica. In some of our institutions, probably as much as 10-20% of the savings base is from people who still live overseas. And some of them have returned home but their livelihood was earned during their working years in the diaspora, right? They've returned home in retirement, so now they're getting pension, and those pensions are being deposited into the Jamaican bank accounts as well. So that's just one aspect. The second thing is that many who don't live here or who don't save here are sending remittances to support their local family members. Now, our remittances have in the recent years been averaging approximately 15% of gross domestic product. I mean, it's a huge contributor to the Jamaican economy. Throp, would you believe that during COVID, our production, our tourism sector was down, but our remittances actually went up?
Wow.
That the people overseas say, we are going to support our family members back home, and whether they're living in the US or in the UK or Canada, they were sending extra amounts back home to support their family and friends who were here who needed the help. So I just give those as two examples. And then the truth is that even our real estate developers, depending on the type of development they're putting together, they know that one key market to consider is a diaspora, and therefore they partner with us in VM to showcase these beautiful products that they have. As they devised a scheme, they'll have the architectural drawings. They're sharing those with people in Canada, in the UK, in the States, and they accompany us on some of those trips. So in many of these residential developments are heavily dominated by purchasers from the diaspora. So they're investing in saving here, in sending remittances, in purchasing real estate. Those are just three ways. And we'd love to see more. We think there are other opportunities as we go forward for people to actually, if you're a business person overseas, to expand your business into Jamaica, or to purchase goods from Jamaica, so that there's that linkage. Because now what you would have is that Jamaican farmers or factory manufacturers would be able to supply you, and you have a good distribution network in the UK or in Canada. You're able to supply Jamaican products to your market. And then sometimes people are looking to expand, but they can't access the capital market, and they need capital to expand, but they can't access the capital markets in overseas, like Toronto Stock Exchange. But could they list on the Jamaica Stock Exchange? Could they list on the Junior Stock Exchange here? And we would love to see more Jamaicans who are overseas running successful businesses that have the potential for even further growth, tapping the Jamaica Stock Exchange. So those are just some of the ways in which I think the diaspora members are already contributing, and then that's through that exempling of how they can do more as we go forward.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Dr. Brown?
Yeah, well, I mean, as Courtney said, the diaspora continues to be very important to Jamaica's economy. Remittances being the one that is often spoken about. But Courtney also spoke about their impact on the housing market. Diasporans are, back in the day, they used to buy homes to return to as returning residents, but now they are investors, right? I get messages on my phone say, hey, look at my latest Airbnb in Jamaica. Share, they are investing in Jamaica. Airbnb being one example. Some of them open businesses, right? So I think, when you think about the diaspora contribution to Jamaica and its economy in particular, they are involved in all aspects of it. And I meet so many Jamaicans since I've returned, who are here now, returned like me, but who have who have lived overseas for very long periods as well, right? And they've come back. They're not coming back retired. That's the other shift that is happening. They're not coming back retired. They're coming back like me, in jobs, working in a range of institutions and companies. So, for example, the head of the Jamaica Bauxite Mining Company is a Brit. She's a Jamaican, right? Who still has a British accent, by the way, Courtney.
Yes, I know her well.
Donna Ho.
Bright lady, yes, I know her well.
Yeah. Donna, right. Donna still has a British accent, right? And Sydney Thwaites, the president of Jamaica Manufacturers Exporters Association, was telling me that he lived outside Jamaica for 40 years.
Wow.
Right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he's back, has his own company, lubrication company, and he's here doing well, right? So, when you talk about the diaspora, Courtney, it's no longer about remittances. The diaspora is very involved now in all things Jamaica, right? And I think I'm just the most recent example, but they are very involved in Jamaica's economy. The philanthropic support that the diaspora gives to Jamaica is enormous. You look at what they're doing for schools. There's Angel Foundation in the UK, supported by VM Group, to build and supply computers to schools, right? And her project, Angel's project, is about going into schools and building IT suites. We talk about STEM, right? And without an IT suite, without computers in a school, then where are you going to get that aspect of STEM? And she's doing that, and she lives in the UK as a Jamaican. So there are many, many examples I could go through that highlight the contribution they make. But you asked a very important question about where should we go next. Well, here's the thing, right? The next generation, so these are Jamaicans born outside of Jamaica, have a different perspective on how they want to interact with Jamaica. They are not going to be the Jamaicans sending remittances to Jamaica. Right, and I keep sending out my little warning because we're getting comfortable remittances. But I'm telling you, my son, right, is not going to sit because he can't relate to it, right? And many of my friends who send remittances, who they live overseas, and the children are asking, why do you send money to Jamaica? Right, so the next generation of young people are not going to be sending home these millions and millions of remittances, and so. That's not to say that Jamaica won't continue to have remittances, but you will see a slow decline in the decades to come. It's not going to be immediate. But the mindset of young people is not remittances. Their engagement in Jamaica is going to be the opportunity to come here and invest and have business. And so I think that where we need to pivot now, and I think Courtney touched on it, is and I spoke about it earlier, is for those who want to do business in Jamaica, even at the startup level, I'm encouraging them to look at Jamaica as an opportunity. Here at UTech, we have one of the largest startup incubators in the English-speaking Caribbean. And if there's any young person out there who has an entrepreneurial idea and wants to incubate it here, Jamaica has the infrastructure for it, right? We have the incubator here. There are funders out there, maybe not as much as you'd find in America, but there's still venture capitalists here. So, for example, at UTech, we recently launched the AMBA UTech Launchpad, whereby we're supporting 100 startups in 1,000 days. And that project is open to all Jamaicans, right? Nice. They're here or abroad. So I think that the future in terms of diaspora engagement is very exciting to me. The risk throb is whether Jamaica will be able to really allow the diaspora to participate in terms of now, not just saying, well, we want your money and your economic support, but to say, well, we see you as Jamaicans, you don't live here, but you have a stake. And so the political agency is going to be the sticking point. Can the diaspora vote or not? Will the diaspora have representation in Parliament or not? In the Senate or not? Those are now the sticky points. That's now going to be the next level thing to say, okay, how do we really now fully incorporate the diaspora in Jamaica's economic and social development? And those are going to be some of the more difficult conversations to be had. We're having them right now. It's playing out right now, about dual citizenship. A lot of people in diaspora have dual citizenship. But we're saying, well, if you want to participate in certain aspects of Jamaica, you may or may not have to give that up. Those are all things now that I think going forward will be topics that we will have to certainly discuss. But as Courtney said, the diaspora is involved. They are buying shares on stocks. The diaspora is participating fully in the stock market. The diaspora is fully participating in capital markets. So we are there. We are pretty much in terms of Jamaica making significant contributions.
Amazing. Thank you. Great answers by both of you. Amazing answers. I want to hop into the Diaspora Conference itself.
Right.
And before both of you hopped on, I was just talking about my previous experience at the last 2 Diaspora Conferences and just how valuable they were to me. So for people who are going to be there, who are considering going, what can they expect from the conference in a couple weeks or so?
All right, so I'm going to allow Kevin to share a lot of the details because he, we had the pleasure of having him chair the program committee. That's a very important team, thinking about all the topics that the diaspora would like to have discussed and that they'd like to have more information on. And because he spent so much time, because not only was he living there, he was a leader in the diaspora movement there in the UK. So he's the right person to chair this. But the one thing I'd want to emphasize is that the program has been designed with the theme in mind: United for Jamaica's Transformation, Fostering Peace, Productivity, and Youth Empowerment. So you're going to have lots of information about the whole matter of peace. The police commissioner will be there, the Minister of National Security will be able, the diasporans will be able to have one-on-one interaction with them, productivity. We're going to have lots of discussion around investment. There's going to be a big focus on investment, how the diaspora can get involved in local entrepreneurial activity, or how they can expand their overseas businesses through local partnerships. Because we're saying that Jamaica is a vibrant location for business. We're already the venue for music, entertainment broadly, sport, and leisure, but we're also building globally competitive and innovative businesses here. Our financial sector is solid, well capitalized. We have a strong regulatory framework in place. The telecom sector is robust. We have modern airports and seaports. We have improving improving road infrastructure, and of course, it's a democratic country. You hear all the talk shows going. Everybody has an opinion in Jamaica, right? So with hardworking people, so it's a good place to invest. And we're saying that Jamaica is open for business. So at the conference, we will have JAMPRO, the support of JAMPRO. They will be our lead business facilitation partner. The Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator Aubin Hill, will be there. JAMPRO's president, Mrs. Shulette Cox, will be there. And they'll be sharing some information on key sectors such as logistics, global digital services, and agriculture. Those are the 3 ones that they'll be emphasizing. They're going to be sharing information on those in presentations to the entire conference, but also in smaller networking events. We're going to have Riverside Chats with successful entrepreneurs. And then we're going to be exploring wealth creation opportunities through the stock exchange, in agribusiness, through real estate, through tourism. We're going to even be speaking about how we harness the power of Jamaica's sport, all the wide range of sports that we have, and art and culture. All of those have great potential for commercial success. I'm going to be spending some time on that. And then beyond that, education and youth empowerment is an important topic that we're going to have to focus on, how we transform education in the digital age. And we think that our diasporans have some important thoughts to contribute to this
Mm-hmm.
discussion. How we unleash the potential of Jamaica's youth, both those who are here as well as those who were born and who are now being raised in the diaspora. So those are just some of the thoughts that we wish to explore at the conference.
Thank you. Dr. Brown, do you want to go a little bit more into some of the itinerary or the agenda?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, let me just thank Renee and VM Group, because we couldn't have this conference without them, right? They've been major sponsors for many years, and Courtney is the chair this year. So I just want to start out with saying that this is a very good example of a sort of public-private partnership that is delivering for Jamaica and the diaspora, because lots of private companies have come on board to work with the government to deliver this conference. And we have a very exciting program for this year's conference. This is the 10th biennial conference, right? So basically we've been going for 20 years. Every 2 years we have a conference. And the aim of these conferences, Throp, is to allow the diaspora to come together and discuss very key topics that are important, not just to the diaspora, but to Jamaica on a whole, right? So when you talk about the topics that we want to explore, we're talking about business and investment, and Courtney touched on that. We're talking about education, health, tourism, youth, peace and security. These are all topics that everyone in the diaspora can relate to. Everybody in the diaspora is concerned about. And this forum allows you the unique opportunity to meet government ministers and heads of government departments and agencies. They're right there with you, right? Yeah, you can either speak to them during a plenary session, during the Q&A, or even just walking through the marketplace, because it's a very informal environment as well. So it is that unique opportunity that is given to the diaspora to have a voice, have a say, have some agency on a range of topics that matter to them. And we have curated a program that incorporates some major speakers, including yourself, Throp, right? so
good shot.
So you will be there, right? And yes. I'm really excited about that. So you're going to be in that session that looks at Jamaica open for business, because for those of your viewers and anyone who follows you and knows your story, you're a prime example of saying, yes, Jamaica is open for business, and you grab the opportunity, right? And 18 years later, you are still in Jamaica doing business, right? Along with the YouTube thing that you're doing here. So you're a prime example. And so we have invited you to sit on the same panel. You'll be there with Senator Honorable Albin Hill, Minister of Industry and Investment and Commerce. He calls himself the business minister. And so you're going to be partaking in the first plenary session on Monday, looking at transforming investment and enterprise in Jamaica through diaspora engagement, right? Because we see the diaspora as integral to the vibrancy of Jamaica's business sector. And so we'll have you, Senator Albin Hill, and some other panelists from a range of companies, including VM Group, Grace Kennedy, and the Jamaica National, discussing that important topic. But one of the key things that I wanted to achieve from this conference, Throp, was to ensure that the diaspora who will be traveling from far and wide to come to the conference will have a voice. So the first thing is that the conference is configured in a dialogue format, right? Meaning that we will have the panelists, no big presentations. The moderator will go straight into a Q&A with the panelists and the audience. So, there'll be lots of interactions, because if Jamaicans, Throp, they want to have their say, right? Yes. They'll listen to you for a while, but then they'll have an opinion and they want to share it, right? So we are making sure that the format of the conference facilitates that. So straight off the bat, once the moderator has done their introductions and they've, touched on a few salient points that they want to bring out, the audience will be allowed to jump straight in, and it will be that kind of dialogue, right? And we know that format works, because we had the Diaspora Conference in the UK, same format, very successful conference. And we know from feedback that the diaspora wants to engage in the conversation. They don't want to be spoken too. They want to be, it has to be reciprocal. So that is going to be the format of all the plenary sessions. And so the first plenary session is going to be on business on Monday morning. But I just want to back up a bit, because on the actual Sunday, we will be having events as well. There will be a Thanksgiving service at the Faith Temple Assemblies of God Church in Montego Bay. That's at 10 a.m. on the Sunday. And then in the evening at 6 p.m., we will be having the welcome reception, and Courtney and other legacy partners will be there sharing remarks, along with Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, who is the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. So that's going to be the opening, the welcome reception, rather, that will be open to all conference attendees. But throughout that day, we will also be doing pre-conference registration. So that's on the Sunday. And then Monday, we get into the business of the conference. And following the first plenary session on business, we will then go into looking at succeeding at business in the diaspora. Because one of the things that we didn't want to just focus on is, okay, come home and do business in Jamaica. Because we also know that Jamaicans are overseas doing amazing things in business in foreign countries. And so we wanted to highlight that opportunity as well. So there'll be a Riverside chat, and Riverside chats will be more kind of intimate one-to-one conversations. And for the first one, which looks at succeeding in business in the diaspora, we have Chef Wentford Patrick Simpson. He's the CEO and chief chef at BB King Blues Club and Grill, New York. And so he'll be talking about what does it take to run a successful business in the diaspora. And then we will have a session on the role of the Jamaican missions and diaspora communities in supporting and sustaining Jamaicans overseas. We have around 3 million Jamaicans estimated who live outside of Jamaica. So this is a mixture of Jamaicans born in the country who have left. So they're born in Jamaica and left, and then Jamaicans born overseas, and that combined is about 3 million people. And so in this session, moderated by Her Excellency Audrey Marks, Ambassador for Jamaica to the United States, she will be talking about how the Jamaican missions and consulates and so on support and sustain these communities. And they live all over the world, but the main populations are in America, Canada, and the UK. And then every lunch period for the 3 days of the conference, we will be having not just lunch, but there'll be something during the lunch period. So it's going to be a hectic agenda. I must warn anyone coming to the conference, make sure you're physically fit, because we are going to keep you busy every minute. So even during lunch, we are going to be giving you information, because the first lunch on Monday, we're going to have how you can, we're going to look at how you can access direct investment, capital markets. And so that session, which is sponsored by Blue Maho Holdings, will have Dr. Marlene Street Foster, Managing Director for the Jamaica Stock Exchange, along with Mr. David Mullins, who is the chair and CEO of Blue Maho Holdings, talking about how you can get involved in the capital market and explore opportunities to invest and to be involved in the junior markets of the Jamaica Stock Exchange and so on, right? So that's going to be happening during the lunch period as well, and then followed by another Riverside chat with Dr. Anthony Monroe, who is the president of the Borough of Manhattan Community College, New York. And he's going to be talking about, the work that they've been doing with Jamaicans who are studying at that institution. And, there'll be some giveaways as well. So I don't want to give away too much, but he's not going to only be talking only, but he has something to offer as well in terms of opportunities for Jamaicans to study.
By the way, could I just interject, as you mentioned, the luncheon sponsorship by Blue Maho Capital, Kevin? That
Sure.
Blue Maho Capital, they are the first diaspora sponsor of the Diaspora Conference, diaspora-based sponsor of the Diaspora Conference. They're platinum sponsors. So congrats to David Mullings and his team. And they have stepped typically up to now. The Diaspora Conference has been sponsored by local-based businesses, yes, operating globally, but still based in Jamaica. But this is the first one that's actually based in the diaspora. I think as we go forward, we're going to see more and more of that. People who live and operate overseas getting involved in sponsoring this forum, because it's an important forum for integrating overseas and local Jamaicans. We're all one. We may live in different places, but we're one family.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
No,
just had to make that introduction.
And it's a very important one, Courtney, because you're right. We want to make this diaspora conference. Okay, fine. It's been held in Jamaica and it's been, organized by the government of Jamaica. But, we want to ensure that diaspora is participating and at all levels. So, well done to Blue Maho. And likewise, in the program, we have tried to get as many diaspora voices to participate in the discussion. Now, on the Monday, a topic that is of concern to a lot of Jamaicans in the diaspora is national security. And Jamaica has a new police commissioner. And if you come to the conference, you will meet him. There's going to be a Riverside chat with the new Jamaica Police Commissioner, Kevin Blake. And so he's going to be talking about his, rise through the ranks to become police commissioner. But more importantly, he's going to be sharing his vision on how Jamaica is going to get excellent at crime fighting, and we're going to have a safer, more secure country. That one-to-one conversation will be followed by a wider plenary session on peace and citizen security, and we will have a panel with three members of the, a mixture of police officers and civil servants from the Ministry of National Security. So we'll have Mr. Fitzbailey, for example, who's the Deputy Police Commissioner, and then we'll have Michael Morgan and Shauna Trowers, who are Chief Technical Directors in the Ministry of National Security. And then from the diaspora, Kevin Jr., who sits on the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council and has responsibility for peace and citizen security. So that's going to be a very, very interesting panel. I mean, if nothing else, you want to come to the conference to learn about that, because I know we're often concerned about crime and security in Jamaica. And, this session will inform you of what Jamaica is doing to make this country secure and safe. And then later on in the day, we have another session. And these are actually a series of concurrent sessions, which I won't go through all the topics here, but we will have concurrent sessions each day, actually. And you will just have to pick your topic, right? Whichever topic you think is important to you, then you can choose your breakout session and you can go to those sessions. They're only 45 minutes long. And then in the afternoon, we go back to the main plenary session. So the final plenary session on the Monday is going to be looking at transforming Jamaica's health system. Another important topic, and the diaspora gives so much to healthcare in Jamaica. We have healthcare professionals who come down on medical missions, give up their time and talent at no cost to Jamaicans, running medical missions and also donating equipment to a range of medical facilities in Jamaica. So the diaspora cares about health, and we're going to have a session to look at where we're going to go with healthcare in Jamaica. The permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health, Dunstan Brand, will be one of the key panelists, but we will also have members of the diaspora like Dr. Robert Clark, who is from HELP Jamaica Medical Mission. We'll have Lorraine Smith, Dr. Upton Allen from Canada, and Dr. Gary Rule as well, who also sits on the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council as the lead on health and wellness. And then the day ends with closing remarks, and we will be having a daily press briefing as well, just to make sure we keep everyone updated on how the conference is progressing. On Tuesday, we will have the official opening of the ceremony. I know you're probably thinking, hang on, really? Yes, but the conference would have started on Monday, but we're going to have the official opening ceremony on the Tuesday, because that's when the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honorable Andrew Michael Holness, will be there. And he'll be giving a keynote speech as part of the opening ceremony. He'll be joined by Courtney and Minister Alonda Terrelong, Minister Kamina Johnson, and the leader of the opposition, Mark Golding, will also be there to bring remarks. But the keynote comes from the Prime Minister, and of course, directly from him. And then we will have a plenary session on education. We're talking about how do we prepare Jamaica to become a STEM, or what people call a STEAM country? How do we ensure that the education system is ready for the digital age? And so we're expecting to be joined by the Minister of Education and Youth, Favour Williams, along with Marlon Lindsay, who's been doing some fantastic work around STEM. Marlon is actually from the diaspora, but doing lots of work in Jamaica on promoting STEM in schools. And he'll actually be giving a presentation on the launch of the virtual STEM Academy in Jamaica. And then we will have our breakout sessions as before. We will have more one-to-one Riverside chats, including one on Jamaican citizenship, right, and travel documents. Every Jamaican should make sure that they have a Jamaican passport, right? And so the CEO for PICA will be there to talk about that, as well as Dr. Sandra Colley-Duran will be launching the Jamaica Mentorship Academy. So that will be allowing members in the diaspora to mentor people in Jamaica. And then in the afternoon on Tuesday, you don't want to miss a very interesting discussion being led by Resworth Burchenson, who is the CEO for Victoria Mutual, or VM Investments Limited, and VM Wealth Management. And the topic is going to be on wealth creation through real estate, right? And that's going to be a breakout session. But that one, I think most of you will be interested in, because I know the diaspora is heavily involved in the property market in Jamaica. So that's going to be a very interesting panel discussion being led by Resworth Burchenson from VM. And then we'll have a plenary session on the young people. Very important. And this is going to be led by them. So the young people, it's their session, and they're going to talk about how we can ensure that they have a closer relationship with Jamaica. The young people in the diaspora, how do we make sure that we harness their energy, creativity, and talents as well? And so in the afternoon, we will look at the Jamaica creative industries and sports, and looking at how we can use those industries for national development. And we're expecting our Minister of Culture and Gender, Entertainment and Sport, the Honorable Oliver Babsy Grange, to be in attendance, to be part of the panel, along with other panelists such as Kwame McPherson, who is the first Jamaican to win the prestigious Commonwealth Short Story Prize. And Kwame actually is from the diaspora, lived in the United Kingdom for years, and has returned home now and is thriving in Jamaica. On the final day, we will be looking at tourism, but this is tourism now with a twist, because it will be about tourism and wealth creation. How can you become the next Throp? Right. How can you become the next Throp, where you can use tourism and have your own business, right, and become an entrepreneur, right? And again, if you know Throp's story, that's essentially what's happened with him. So we want to talk about that. How can we get more Jamaicans to see tourism not just as something where they can come and be a visitor and experience the all-inclusive, but they can actually have a business here. And a lot of people are using Airbnb as a sort of jump-off point, but there are other opportunities in the tourism industry for the diaspora to explore, right? And the Honorable Edmund Bartlett will be there on Wednesday, Minister of Tourism, and along with other panelists to talk about tourism and wealth creation, right? So again, another topic that you don't want to miss on the final day of the conference on Wednesday. And then we want to talk about how do we strengthen and sustain diaspora engagement. You heard me talk about where do we go next with the diaspora in terms of political agency and so on. We're having this big conversation about the Constitution. And so how do we ensure that we can sustain and really engage the diaspora in their foreign regions where they live, right? And so we'll be talking about the National Diaspora Policy and the action plan for implementation of said policy. We'll be looking at the work of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council. What have they achieved since inception, and how can the diaspora get involved in these forums, right? So we'll have Honorable Orlando Terrelong, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, who's responsible for the diaspora. He'll be part of the panel along with other members of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council to talk about how do we sustain, and really ensure that we have a very strong engagement with the diaspora. And then lunchtime on Wednesday, we will have the Governor General's Achievement Awards for the diaspora. So this is where high achievers in the diaspora will be celebrated by His Excellency, the Governor General, and with an awards lunch on the final day on Wednesday. And then we will have our concurrent sessions looking at a range of topics, right? And this program will be posted online, so you will all see those topics. But I'm just highlighting the main conversations that we're going to be having. And so the conference will end. The final plenary session will focus on the Jamaica's constitutional reform, which is, a big topic of conversation. Getting rid of the king, and is it going to be an executive president or a ceremonial president, and all the rest of it, right? Are we going to keep the Privy Council or not? Is it going to be the Caribbean Court of Justice? And these discussions are raging in the diaspora, right? And so we will have them, have those conversations at the conference. The Honorable Marlene Malaho Fort will be there. She's the Minister for Legal and Constitutional Affairs, along with other members of the Constitutional Reform Committee, and including Professor Richard Albert, who's the a legal expert here on all things constitutional. So that's how the conference ends. But on the Thursday, there is something that we call Diaspora Day of Service, which allows the diaspora, the attendees at the conference, to get involved in community activities, and there are a range of community activities that you can get involved in. You can design your own project, or you can get involved in projects that have already been curated. So it could be simply visiting a school, donating books or pencils, painting the school, etc. There's a wide array of possibilities around Diaspora Day of Service and you giving back to Jamaica. So, Thorpe, as you can see, we have a very, very big program here. Yes, and so, as I said, you want to make sure that if you come into the conference, you're physically fit, because every minute of the day we have squeezed something in there, right? But that's because we want to ensure that for those who will take the time to come to the conference, they will find it a fulfilling experience, a rich experience, well worth the expense. So we wanted to make sure that we're delivering value here. So I hope the diaspora who are listening will make this final effort, as we draw closer to the conference date, which is from the 16th onwards, that they will now make that effort to come and be there in Montego Bay at the Montego Bay Conference Center and participate in their conference. This is the Diaspora Conference after all. So yeah, that's the program in short.
Thank you very much for letting us know.
I told you that the conference program was in great hands.
Yes, definitely,
Right?
definitely indeed.
Yes.
And I know we've gone over time, and Mr. Campbell, I know you have to run,
Yes.
but I just want to give you the opportunity to say any last remarks before you go. And Dr. Brown, are you okay to stay a few minutes? Okay.
Yes, thank you very much, Thorpe. So here's what I'd want to do. Those who are listening, and you're either watching this live or you're watching a recorded version of it, please register. Go on the Eventbrite website, eventbrite.com. Just type in 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. Register to attend the conference. We have, for those of you who are on now, that link has been posted in the chat. Please, we have special hotel discounted rates with some hotels. They're also listed on the website. We know that Iberia Star is one, and Ocean Springs and Trelawney is another, but they're listed there. And it's important that you be here. It's the conference agenda, as we have heard, is a rich agenda, but we have good entertainment. On the Monday evening, the VM group will be putting on a special package for you. Tuesday, the JN group will be putting on a special package. And I know that Grace Kennedy has a really very special treat in store for all conference attendees. Very exciting. The Governor General Achievement Awards, we're going to be celebrating some people who have contributed significantly to the diaspora over the years, nominated by diasporans, and that's a significant thing to look forward to. So we have the formal, official sessions with lots of business, but we also have rich entertainment. We have celebratory events. We have good networking opportunities. You need to be here. The only thing that's missing, that will be missing, is if you who are listening are not here. So please make the arrangements, be here. Thank you very much. This has been a wonderful program. Thank you, Thorpe, and thank you to Dr. Kevin Brown, who has had an excellent start at UTech.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Campbell. I appreciate you.
Okay. And thank you, Janet, for your kudos. Well received. Thanks.
Janet says, Mr. Campbell, you are doing a fantastic job / service. There you go.
Good. All the best. Thanks.
All right. Take care. Okay. All right, Dr. Brown. Oh, so just have a couple of questions before we close out, and I appreciate you going a little bit longer.
It's fine. No problem.
So 2 questions. So we kind of talked about this, but I don't know if you could speak to this. I thought I would like to know what your guests think about the effort being made to interact with the Jamaican diaspora. What is the target, budget, and timeline?
Okay, well, I mean, I think that the Jamaican government has been making significant strides in ensuring that there's a deeper, more meaningful engagement with the diaspora. And I think they acknowledge the benefit that the diaspora gives to Jamaica, and we've been exploring those benefits throughout this conversation. And so, not the engagement at this stage now is moving in the right direction in terms of making sure that we have some institutional framework to it. So, for example, we now have the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, and that council has representatives from all the major regions where you have Jamaicans. And no longer is it just Canada, America, and the UK. This council has a European rep, has a Caribbean rep, has an Africa rep, has a Asia rep, and so on. So there is an acknowledgement by the government that Jamaicans are everywhere, and we have to make sure that they have a voice. The council also has members of the diaspora on there who are specialized in terms of the skill sets they offer, and so they cover topics like health and peace and security and so on, right? So that council is a really good forum and acts as a bridge between the government of Jamaica, the people of Jamaica, and the diaspora. And you have a youth replica of it, right? So you have the Global Jamaica Youth Council as well. So in addition to these councils, you have the national policy on for the diaspora, right? So that policy now sets out again how the government intends to engage with the diaspora, right? And that is a fully ratified document. And now where we are is the implementation plan, because the policy speaks to certain initiatives that should now emerge. And so there's an implementation plan that is being rolled out. And again, for those who will be attending the conference, they will learn more about this initiative. So, those are just examples whereby I am seeing Jamaica making an effort to ensure that we have a structured engagement approach with the diaspora. Of course, more could be done, and I know there'll be a continued debate around diaspora voting and representation at Parliament and all the rest of it. But I think that we're in a much better place as it stands, and we will continue to evolve over time. Now, the question was asked was also included, what is the target budget and timeline? I don't know what exactly they're asking in terms of, I don't know if that's a general engagement question or the diaspora conference. But if it is just the wider engagement approach, the target, to my mind, is to ensure that every Jamaican, wherever they are on the planet, have a connection to Jamaica, and that should be facilitated by the government of Jamaica, not only through the global councils, but also through the local consulates and embassies that Jamaica has in these various countries, right? So it's the target is to reach out to every Jamaican. The target is to protect every Jamaican, right? We don't want to leave any Jamaican behind. The budget is limited, I can tell you, because I was part of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council until I stepped down, having moved back to Jamaica, right? And so I know from my interactions and many years of working with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that government funding is limited. And you can see, for example, with the hosting of this diaspora conference, they have leaned heavily on funding from the private sector, right? So the budget isn't significant, but beyond the budget, I think there's still several initiatives that have been undertaken. So, for example, we will be launching at the conference what we're calling the JamDem online portal for the diaspora, right? And this was funded by the IOM, the United Nations International Organization for Migration. And they decided to fund this project, which will essentially allow Jamaica to have a global online portal for the diaspora, which will be packed with resources, right? So no longer do you have to jump from one ministry website to a government agent's website. It will all be there linked up, and it will also connect the diaspora with each other, right? But it will be a big online resource for the diaspora, and that was funded by an international body. So we will find the funding wherever we can, using friends and partners who have a shared vision with Jamaica. Timeline, I would say that Throp, we have been on this diaspora project in terms of this structured engagement from 2004 or just thereabouts, right? But I use 2004 as a marker because 2004 was the first time ever that the Jamaican government held a kind of diaspora conference of sorts in Jamaica. But I say of sorts because it became more of a consultation activity to say, okay, what does the diaspora want? How could we, evolve into having this formal engagement? So from 2004, is when we officially really started to see, okay, how do we build out this engagement model? And I would say that we have really matured, as I've said before. This is the 10th staging of the conference, and so we continue to develop. And so the timeline is a timeline, but I would say that, over the last 20 years, the engagement of the diaspora has been significant, and there's more to come.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And then just one comment, because you had mentioned something of this nature before. This is from Mark McCarthy. He says, our drafting team is coming out of Jamaica, and I must say it's the best move we made. I'm so happy our physical practice of architecture is coming from Jamaica to suit our clients here in the New York City area.
Fantastic. And most likely they'll have been trained at UTech because we have the largest architecture school in the Caribbean, not just Jamaica. Wow. The Caribbean, right? So awesome. A lot of architects in the Caribbean are trained right here because we have the largest architecture school. So I'm really glad. And you see, again, just highlights the potential, right, of Jamaicans being able to stay here. Well, I don't know if that company is in Jamaica, but certainly Jamaican talent is behind their success, and I'm really happy to hear that.
Okay, and then this is a UTech specific question, and this will be the last question. So it's two-part actually. So this is from Chantal. It says the thing with getting into universities in Jamaica, though, from what I remember, one, the application process isn't easy, and there's so much pressure prior to applying to have near perfect grades, and then two, it's so expensive. No one wants a student loan since they embarrass people so easily for being delinquent with payments. However, jobs aren't easy to get. It's who you know, not what degree you have.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Look, that's a perfectly good question, right? And I'm all for dialogue, because we have to discuss these things in order to look at how we can move forward. So yes, Chantel, even at my university, I have to admit that the application process is not as fluid as I'd like it to be, as easy and customer friendly as I'd like it to be. And that's something I am working on, right? And that's just because the university is underfunded and there's been a level of underinvestment. So we don't, where I was hoping that I would come to see a fully digital system, that's not the case, right? It's quasi-digital, right? And so that also then breaks down the customer service experience, because everything is a bit slower because it's so manual. And if you can imagine, UTech gets over 7,000 applications, over 7,000. So now, if you don't have a slick digital admissions process, you will have some hiccups along the way, and we do have them. But nonetheless, the aim here is to transform all of our business processes. A big digital transformation program is what we're looking at right now. And so the aim is to make the student experience amazing. And the only way to achieve that is, one, we've got to, of course, digitize and make processes easier and simpler, but also we're going to make sure that how our staff interact with students is also one that is quite endearing and empathetic and so on. So that work is ongoing. But what I would say, though, is that I'm a past student of the UTech, right? And the one thing that I can guarantee is that you will get a quality education, right? And Jamaican schools in general, outside of university, are known for the quality of the education. Yes, we are demanding in terms of the curriculum and the expectations, but I believe that's a good foundation for our young people in Jamaica. So I'm just trying to encourage members of the diaspora, one, to support the university in terms of any support you can give. We need the help, however you want to provide that help. But also, you can study here. If you're in university in overseas, maybe you could do an exchange program, right? And we're trying to facilitate more of those. Or you could even study in Jamaica. I know of a lady, her daughter did medicine at UA, which is next door to our university, right? Did medicine there, got her qualifications, and is now back in the UK practicing. But she did it here because of the quality of the education. It's equivalent, right? So she had no problem going back to the UK to become a practicing doctor. And you know what? It was more cost effective. And so the diaspora just needs to open your eyes to all the opportunities. Now, you say it's so expensive. It's relative because, as I said, I know of my friend's daughter. They found it cheaper for her to do medicine here in Jamaica. So it's relative. But for the local Jamaican, yes, no doubt about it. I mean, the average tuition fee at UTech is about just over on average 300,000 Jamaican dollars, 300,000. And of course, there is
that per year or per semester?
Per year.
Okay.
Yeah. So so looking at the sort of a full academic year, it's about 300,000 Jamaican dollars. And what the diaspora tends to do, is they give scholarships. I have a lot of scholarships. I think we have about $300 million worth of scholarships.
Wow.
And quite a few of them are from the diaspora, right? So people come and they pledge scholarships all the time, and that helps our students to attend our university. Now, she mentioned about student loan. Well, here's some good news. the government of Jamaica has removed the need for guarantors. So essentially, they've made it easier for you to get a loan, because with the need for a guarantor, that was always a challenge, because not everyone could find someone to stand as a guarantor. So now it's way easier to get a student loan. And so I'm expecting to see a lot more students feeling like university is something they can genuinely pursue despite the expenses. So now, in terms of jobs, right? The reality is that Jamaica has certain economic ambitions in terms of industrialization, becoming a knowledge-based economy, and all the rest of it. I believe we will get there. We're not there yet, but we'll get there. You've seen an explosion of in BPOs and all the rest of it. So Jamaica is kind of pivoting. It's not just tourism anymore. And one of the things that people forget is that we have a very strong financial services sector, right? We do have a tech sector as well. A lot of it built around computing and so on. And there's industry here. So we have some jobs, but clearly, I'm not going to, come on here and say we have jobs for everyone. There are still challenges in terms of the job market, even though statistically, right, we have very, very low unemployment, right? But what I do know, Throp, is that the statistics are not good around migration. So around 80% of Jamaicans who have a tertiary education, right, have a degree, etc., leave the country.
80%.
80%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
you have a lot of highly educated Jamaicans who leave, right? Now, oftentimes you hear about the nurses and the teachers. They're the poster child. They're the poster child for migration, right? We have a nursing school at UTech, and we know that we're producing nurses who will not stay for one reason or the other in the country. So you have a lot of brain drain, but at the same time, there's a brain gain happening, and I think that's what we need to talk about. I am not, the only one coming back to Jamaica. As I said, I meet many diasporans who are coming back. The brain gain is happening as well, but we do have a high level of migration. I believe that will always be a part of the Jamaican story. Jamaicans will always leave, but I think it's just ensuring that Jamaica has a balance where we keep some of the talent here, right? Keep some of the talent here, but those who feel the urge to leave, they can also go out and be ambassadors and shine for Jamaica as well. So we will have to find that balance. So Chantel, I hope I've answered your question. I hope I've given you the confidence to know that you can pursue tertiary education here. Yes, we still need to make our systems better, but the curriculum and the quality of our lecturers and faculty is pretty strong, and we produce really, really good graduates.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Dr. Brown. And I know we've gone well over the time, and I appreciate you staying a few more minutes with us. But I want to give you the last word on the stream. Any last sentiments or last messages that you'd like to send the audience or the Jamaican diaspora specifically?
Well, I mean, first of all, I'd like to express my appreciation to you for having me on and for having Courtney on to talk about the Jamaica Diaspora Conference. It's a very important forum for the diaspora to engage with all the key topics that affect you in the diaspora, but also here in Jamaica. Because when you think about it, we're going to be talking about healthcare, education, safety and security. And even if you don't live in Jamaica, many of you have family here. So these topics affect your family, and so you should be interested in learning more and coming down to the conference in Montego Bay, at the Montego Bay Conference Center, to be part of this exciting opportunity. So I just want to encourage everyone listening, if you haven't registered yet, register and buy your plane ticket and come down and be part of the dialogue, be part of the solution. And so get on the website, Google Jamaica Diaspora Conference 2024, get all the information you need, register, and see you there.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brown. Sorry, somebody asked us before. Will any of it be live streamed, or will there be any sort of access afterwards to get any of these videos of the presentations?
Yeah, I think afterwards. I mean, the aim is to get people there physically. So, I think there'll be a limitation on how much live streaming. There might be some, but I'm not sure how much they will allow for, because really and truly we want people to be there physically, right? COVID's over now. We want to meet and greet each one, break bread together, and have robust conversation in person. But yes, certainly, maybe during certain aspects of the conference and afterwards, there might be some video footage of the conference.
Okay, so make sure you're there, everybody. Okay, thank you once again, Dr. Brown, and we will certainly be in touch for doing a future get together, and I will see you at the Jamaica Diaspora Conference.
Thank you.
All right, have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, that was the first of our Jamaica Diaspora Conference series, and that was pretty awesome. I mean, so many gems by two of Jamaica's great leaders, of two of Jamaica's greatest institutions, and I really appreciate them taking the time to come on. So once again, we had Mr. Courtney Campbell, who is the group president and CEO of VM Group, and he's also on the preparatory committee. He's the preparatory committee chairman of the 10th biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. And then just leaving was Dr. Kevin Brown, president of the University of Technology and chair of the program and content subcommittee for the 10th biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. And we're going to be doing this again next week on Thursday, same time, same place. So make sure that you're able to attend. I will definitely be announcing it on all the socials, and so will VM, and so will the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, and we'll be putting it out. And like I said, leading up to this, I knew there was going to be a lot of value given in this discussion. When you have two gentlemen of this caliber coming on a forum of this nature, you are bound to learn something and walk away with something. And I truly believe this conference gives us, the diaspora, Jamaican community, whether here or abroad, the opportunity to really shape the direction and have a voice of the direction that Jamaica is going in. And it is such, like, where we are as a country and like our history, like we are like at such a pivotal point. And I know the Prime Minister always talks about this being in the inception point that we're in. Even the constitutional reform, I know I don't talk a lot about it on my channel, but it's like we are living in history, and I hope everybody is taking that seriously and understanding the magnitude of the time in history that we are living in as Jamaicans and as Jamaica itself as a country. And it is crazy that we are here at this point. There are so many things that are happening in Jamaica, as I talked about earlier, in terms of it being the positive direction that we're heading in, but also in terms of where Jamaica and how Jamaica is going to be seen globally is really being shaped in so many ways by both the public sector and the private sector. And the Jamaica Diaspora Conference is such a great opportunity for you to literally be tangibly a part of that change and a part of the direction that the country goes in. And so, again, I think it's a great opportunity, and the networking, I don't want to understate that. The networking in these events and at this event is going to be phenomenal. The people who are going to go there, and you think about it, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a diverse set of mindsets, but the core is Jamaica. And the core is Jamaica and its future and how Jamaica is moving forward. So you're going to be interacting with those people, and I know it's going to be high quality people. And I'm talking about my own experience for the last two times that I went. It's really, really high quality people, and you never know who you're going to meet, what kind of business that they're in, or what kind of background, academic or otherwise, that they're in. And you never know what sort of serendipitous interaction and collaboration that it can be with the people that you'll meet at this conference. And like both the speakers said, it's an opportunity also to interact directly with many of the leaders of the country and different ministries, and also heads of some of the biggest companies in Jamaica will be there as well. And so I think it's a great opportunity again. And I hope that you, if you're able to make it, to really consider it. Take a look at the link that I posted in the comments there, and get more information and everything that Dr. Brown talked about in the in as far as what the itinerary is like. All the details are in that link, and you can check it out. And even if you can only make a day or two, I think it's well worth it. And like Dr. Brown said, I will be there on the 17th, opening up the conference on the first panel discussion, which I'm super excited about. So I would love to meet as many of you as possible. If you're going to be around, if you can make it, I would love to say hello, take a selfie, chop it up, have a discussion, whatever it is. I love meeting you all, and especially under these circumstances, and it's such a really important conference for this country. So thank you all for joining the first of this live stream series for the 10th biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. And we'll be back here again next Thursday doing the same thing, with having another guest focus on the Diaspora Conference. But of course, we'll be doing my normal live stream this Sunday. We all start between 12 and 1 o'clock. So it'll be, and we'll go a little bit more into detail about some of those opportunities that I was alluding to earlier when I was opening up today's live stream. And then last announcement, we have the Black Man the Traveler video dropping on Saturday. Really interesting fellow YouTuber who's traveled all over the world, and he was just in Jamaica visiting, and he has a lot of content traveling around Jamaica, and he had an amazing time and he loved it here. Super interesting story and super interesting individual, and we're doing a premiere on that on Saturday at 3 o'clock. So I will see you on Sunday, and hopefully see you next Thursday for another round of the Jamaican Diaspora Conference mini-series that we have going on. Hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I will see you on Sunday, if not next Thursday.